Almost all American journalism is controlled by a few massive corporations. News Voice is a one-of-a-kind mobile app that tracks the bias and corporate interests that infuse the news stories we consume every day, and it's completely free to use. Go to newsvoice.com/Pakman to download it. I have something great and horrible for you today, and it's a case study in how an unfounded, totally speculative, panic-causing conspiracy theory can get itself going, and how Fox News helps Republicans do it. Wacky, extremist Republican Senator Tom Cotton went on Fox Business and was interviewed by Trump brown-noser Maria Bartiromo about the coronavirus. We've covered coronavirus. It's an infectious disease which originated, it's believed, at a market in Wuhan, China. Many countries, including the United States, are dealing with some cases less deadly percentage-wise than SARS, but many more cases than SARS. And it's a real issue with serious consequences. Cotton goes on Fox Business and says, listen, that Wuhan market is close to a Chinese lab where we don't know what they're doing. And Maria Bartiromo keeps it going with questions like, wait, we don't know what they're doing there? Wait, the lab is right near the market that is supposedly the source of the coronavirus. And of course, there's no evidence for anything that Tom Cotton is implying here. Check out this irresponsible screed, and then we'll discuss it.
Have to get to the bottom of that. We also know that just a few miles away from that food market is China's only biosafety level 4 super laboratory that researches human infectious diseases. Now, we don't have evidence that this disease originated there, but because of China's duplicity and dishonesty from the beginning, we need to at least ask the question to see what the evidence says. And China right now is not giving any evidence on that question at all.
So this super lab that you referred to, this super lab is the only one of its kind in this area, in Wuhan, in the province, that area. And what do they do at this super lab?
It's unclear, Maria. We have such laboratories ourselves in the United States, run by our military, in large part done for preventative purposes, or trying to discover vaccines, or to protect our own soldiers. China is obviously very secretive about what happens at the Wuhan laboratory. We don't know, again, where this virus originated. That's why it's so important that we at least ask the questions and get the evidence. But China continues to block our ability to ask those questions and get that evidence.
So the key line there is, we don't have evidence that the disease originated in this lab. That's actually all you need to say. That should end the conversation. But Maria Bartiromo says, you're saying this is the only lab like it in China, and it's right there next to the Wuhan market? And he says, yeah, and we don't even know what it is that they do at this lab. Well, that's also not evidence of anything. And Maria Bartiromo should do the responsible thing and say, Senator, is there any evidence for what you're implying here? And the answer would be no. Instead, Maria Bartiromo says, wow, the only lab of its kind right there, just stoking this totally fact-free conspiracy theory from Tom Cotton. Tom Cotton is citing this vague circumstantial thing, while during the Russia probe days, remember that Tom Cotton didn't find it circumstantially suspicious that endless members of Trump's team had contact with Russians and lied about it and tried to hide it. That was a circumstantial case, not at all suspicious to Tom Cotton. Here, totally without evidence, suggesting that the latest flu-like disease may be a Chinese bioweapon, not only willing to put it out there, but helped along by Maria Bartiromo on Fox Business. Now, in case you care, this idea has already been discussed and debunked. It is true that there is a well-known lab in Wuhan. It's a cellular level biosafety level 4 lab. There is a statement from Richard Ebright, professor of chemical biology at Rutgers, who says, quote, there's absolutely nothing in the genome sequence of this virus that indicates the virus was engineered. The possibility this was a deliberately released bioweapon can be firmly excluded. Now, additionally, why would the Chinese create a bioweapon that is mostly killing Chinese people is a question. But then Tom Cotton sort of tries to backtrack and says, well, I'm not saying it was developed on purpose in the lab, but maybe accidentally tweeting a number of possibilities where number 2 was good science, bad safety. In other words, they were researching things like diagnostic testing and vaccines, but an accidental breach occurred. Once again, it's hugely irresponsible. If Republicans are furious that sitting Senator Amy Klobuchar didn't know the name of the Mexican president, we talked about that yesterday, then they should be endlessly more furious that a sitting senator, Tom Cotton, is eagerly willing to spread panic and disinformation like this. They don't care. They don't care. And Tom Cotton continues to do it, helped along, by the way, by Fox News' Maria Bartiromo, she used to be a good financial reporter, interviewing CEOs on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange 15 years ago when I started getting into the stock market, 20 years ago even. She has become a Trump brown-noser and perpetuator of disinformation. That is, it's sad and also very frustrating to see because she could still be a good journalist, and instead she does this stuff.